You better wake up and get this. You ain't the only one living. You are also living for the people who are connected to you. And if you don't take seriously the weight of the people who are coming, you will live carelessly and self-centered, and you will mismanage the doors that God gives you. Preach, man of God.
Hey everybody, hey. Sorry I'm late. Had a little mishap today, but we are here nonetheless and ready to rock and roll. For a few moments, I want to share some insights with you, some thoughts. I want to talk about today, don't give in. So if you don't mind, go ahead and share with someone, encourage someone to join us. And I want to talk about don't give in today. Don't give in. And it's interesting when I think about this whole idea of not giving in. What I think about the unwillingness to negotiate with that which you know is beneath you. The unwillingness to negotiate with that which you know is beneath you. Okay, so let's try it again. The willingness when giving in is about the willingness to negotiate, right? To negotiate with something that's beneath you. And so when you give in, you're basically saying that I'm going to negotiate with this which is beneath me. I'm going to adjust who I am, and then I'm going to give myself to this, right? And at the point that I negotiate who I am, adjust who I am, and give in, is the point that I no longer have control over my destiny and my purpose. And one of the goals of the forces of evil is to make you feel as if you have nothing to offer. So you negotiate who you are, or you cut deals, or you make it easy for the mediocre and the average to take ownership of your mindset, to take ownership of your destiny, and to take ownership of your purpose. So this idea then of living beneath your destiny is really about not protecting who you are. So a part of what I want to do today is I want to talk about this whole idea of making sure that you don't give in. Because it's interesting when you give in. Hold on for a sec, y'all. When you give in, you ultimately lose your momentum. When you give in, you ultimately lose your momentum. All right. So I want to talk about things that you don't give into. Right. First thing is you don't give in to temptation. You don't give in to temptation. Right. You don't give in to temptation. Okay. We straight now. We're on Facebook. You don't give in to temptation. Right. You got to fight temptation. You got to fight the ability to give in to temptation, right? That's the first thing. You got to fight it. You got to fight when you are vulnerable to all this negative stuff, man. When all of a sudden you find yourself fighting temptation. Secondly, I want to suggest you don't give in to negative thoughts. Don't give in to negative thoughts. Don't give in to, because negative thoughts leads to negative conversations, right? Negative thoughts leads to negative conversations. So when you give in to negative thoughts, you immediately are available to negative behavior. So negative thoughts leads to negative behavior. Third thing is don't give in to poisonous relationships. Now, this is the hard part. And let me tell you why this is hard. Because sometimes our need for people, our need for affirmation, our need for approval makes us vulnerable to people, places, and things that are poisonous, especially people who negatively influence the way we think, negatively influence the way we live, right? And so don't give in to poison of relationships. This means, you ready? You got to have the courage to sometimes walk, I'm putting this in quotes, alone until people can match who you are. Dr. Diamond yesterday talked about this whole issue of baggage, right? This whole issue of baggage. And one of the things that he said that I thought was powerful is the fact that sometimes you just outgrow people, and you just outgrow circumstances, and you just outgrow things, and you look up and you're just bigger than it, you're better than it, and you don't get drawn into it, right? And so poisonous relationships. But here's the last thing I want to mention tonight about what not to give into is don't give into discouragement. Listen, one of the biggest challenges I've personally had is managing discouragement. And sometimes the reason why discouragement is so powerful of a weapon against us is because discouragement works against our expectations. Wow, that's really big. Discouragement works against our expectations. So when I have an expectation, right, that this relationship is going to work, and then I start to notice that this relationship isn't working, then what happens is that discouragement sinks in. And when discouragement sinks in, and I start to feel like, wow, this ain't working, then I lower or lessen my expectations of myself, of the world around me, and then I start accepting that which is inferior to my standard. This is so important. When you are discouraged, your expectations have not been met. When you are discouraged, something that you thought was going to happen didn't happen. When you are discouraged, something that you thought was going to turn didn't turn. When you are discouraged, something has taken your courage. When you are discouraged, something has taken your courage. And now you find yourself unwilling to take another risk because you've been discouraged. The person who says, I don't want to fall in love again. This last situation was so horrible, and I'll just rather be by myself, right? I just rather be by myself. I don't want to be with anybody. And you find yourself always living in the fear of the next pain, of the next sorrow, of the next suffering season. Because now your expectations are for the pain, for the suffering, for the sorrow. Because discouragement has taken your courage. Now you are courageless. No desire to try anything new. No motivation. And now you draw to yourself people who feed your discouragement. That's why you got to be careful who you are. And you got to be careful who you are. You got to be careful who you're with. You got to be careful who you allow to be in your space when you're trying to grow out the will of God, grow out vision, grow out dreams. You got to be careful that you don't allow anything and anybody to take your courage. Courage is what gives you the ability to overwhelm fear with redemptive, amazing, doubtless actions, doubtless confessions. That's the genius of courage. And so I want to suggest then that you can't give in. You can't give in to temptation. Temptation will draw you away from the will of God. Temptation will draw you into negative, unhealthy places. Temptation will draw you into guilt. Temptation will draw you into inadequacies that you should have been overcoming with obedience and integrity and morality. You can't give in. So how do you not give in? Well, let me give you 3 to 4 things of what you have to do to not give in. First thing, the best way to ward off giving in is by surrounding yourself with people who encourage you. And here's the part B of 1. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, and then embrace their encouragement. Accept their encouragement. Here's what's funny. People who struggle to accept encouragement, who struggle to accept compliments, would hate if you did nothing but criticize them, right? If like I was talking to a peer of mine, I love them dearly. They're an amazing person. And I talked to them today. They're talking about how they preached this weekend. And I said, I'm sure it went very well. It was like, she was like, nah, I give glory to God. And I said, so you just can't say thank you? It was funny. And I said jokingly, I said, what if I said that was a terrible message and God just didn't honor it? They was like, ooh, okay, Dean. One of the other, a very, very wonderful colleague of mine at the school. And it was like, oh, I said, yeah. I said, what if I told you that it was a terrible message? And for a minute she said, you know what? I want to say thank you for the compliment. I said, yeah, sometimes the best thing to do, listen, let people encourage you. Sometimes their job in your life is to encourage you. Accept the encouragement. Don't be so quick to push it away. Don't be so quick to debase it. I get it. I've done it, right? But I also understand that sometimes you need people to just tell you the good, tell you the positive, point you in the direction of God's will, right? So accept it, right? That's how you don't quit, because you can store away positive things. Listen, yesterday, my daughters did the most amazing thing. They gave me a frame, and my wife's in the other room, but they gave me this frame, and they had these 3 letters in it, and they all wrote a letter to me. Oh, it was the most amazing thing. Oh, I read it. I've read it a couple of times, and it was the most amazing thing to hear their thoughts about their father. And the thing that really blessed me so much was how each of them allowed their unique personality to encourage me. One of the things that you got to begin to understand is that your life is never going to be what it's supposed to be if you don't have people in your life who encourage you. Here's the second thing. To not give in, you got to be so focused on the goals until nothing stops your movement. You got to be focused on the goals. Listen, and I remember one time, my family and I, we were driving from here to Virginia, right? And it started to rain profusely, right? It started to rain profusely. It started to rain. In the words of the saints, like cats and dogs, it just, it was terrible. But here's what's deep. We slowed down, but we kept driving. We slowed down, but we kept driving. A few months ago, Pastor Jay and I had what could have been a horrific accident. The accident actually, for a couple of hours, stymied us. When my 2 spiritual sons, Andrews and Mitchell, came to pick us up, they took us about 30 minutes away. We were closer, but we were still 3 hours away from home. We spent the night in a hotel, got up the next morning, and Gerard Bell, Minister Elder Gerard Bell, came and picked us up and drove us home. Let me help you. Even with an accident, we kept moving towards home. Wow. There may be things that come in your life that slows down your movement, or may even for a period make it seem like it stops your movement. But the thing that's so incredible is that as long as you keep moving towards your goal, as long as you keep moving, listen, those of you who struggle with this weight thing, and you say, oh, it's so hard. But as long as you keep moving, you're losing that pound here, you're losing that pound there, you're doing the things. Those of you that are trying to get out of debt, no, you may not hit the lottery, right? And get $10 million at one swoop, but you can just hit it. You can just, one credit card and another credit card, and now you double up on your car note until you get that car paid off a year earlier, and you start to notice money being freed up. But instead of going to buy the latest purse, you now save it, or you change your pattern of behavior. You stay focused. Here's the final thing. Then I'm done. Learn to believe in yourself. Just learn to believe in yourself. Learn to believe that God wants you to believe in you, that you're capable of doing amazing things. Learn to believe in yourself. Learn to believe in yourself. All right? So I want to encourage you to not lose sight of the things that are before you. Don't give in, and watch what God will do. Listen, I love you guys so much. Be blessed. Listen, Sunday, 1:43, right? I hope those of you who can and will join us. Keep encouraging people. Sorry about the mix up tonight, but keep encouraging people to join us. E3 is actually one of the best things happening on social media. It really is. It's amazing. It's powerful. It's impactful. And so keep joining us, and be blessed, everybody. I love you. Take care.